All successful creators know how to act in the present moment by focusing on their future. That's how they know. That's how they know how to be. They go, well, that's what I'm creating. That's what I'm calling in. So because of that, this is how I act. Whereas the muggles go, well, I've been like this my whole life, so this is how I should be. See the difference? It's this one point, but it's where the focus goes. So we're going to keep moving and getting straight into exercises, but I just want to talk a little bit about alchemy. And most of you will would have heard the term alchemy before and understand that basically it's based on a metaphor of turning lead into gold, right? And there was these alchemists and they were obsessed with turning lead into gold. And people will laugh at it, but the thing is it's a story, it's a metaphor. The lead is a non-precious material, and the gold is something precious. And so the story is this group of people that were obsessed with focus on how do they take something non-precious and make it precious. And what would make something non-precious and make it precious was this, philosopher's stone, which was the fire that could never be put out, the stone that could never be held. And many people have wondered what the philosopher's stone was, this amazing thing that could do, this miraculous stuff. And the interesting thing is that we actually all know what that is. In fact, everything we have in life is actually an unprecious thing that we've made precious, from jewelry to computers to relationships. Start out as strangers, non-precious. We're the ones that make it precious. Does that make sense? And the way that we do that is actually through imagination. It's through imagination, it's through the invisible. And imagination is actually the philosopher's stone. That's actually what the alchemists were talking about. They're talking about how out there you can see a tree. That tree could be a fence post, it could be a table, it could be a bookshelf. We are the ones, human consciousness is the ones that take something and make it precious. They see the stone, they turn it into a home. And that's what we must understand with the creative act, with the creative focus. We're taking our life, which is just a life, and we're making it a precious life. We're taking it from lead, of the mundane, the low vibration, and we're making it a high vibration life. And that's why the creative process is so important. So I want you to get this. Your imagination creates reality. Your imagination creates reality. You imagine your past. Yeah, it's not in the book anywhere. I'm just having a chat. So a few people are like, where's he talking about? The book's just there, and then you guys have called stuff forward. So imagination. So you're imagining the past. The past isn't there. You imagine it. And you imagine, we don't even know if that moment that we're talking about ever happened. We have to take your word for it. It's your imagination. What we know is your system is coding up that metaphor and that moment. Does that make sense? It's your imagination. So you're either imagining a past that doesn't exist anymore and using it to create your reality, or you're imagining a future that hasn't existed yet and using it to create your reality. All successful creators know how to act in the present moment by focusing on their future. That's how they know. That's how they know how to be. They go, well, that's what I'm creating. That's what I'm calling in. So because of that, this is how I act. Whereas the muggles go, well, I've been like this my whole life, so this is how I should be. See the difference? It's this one point, but it's where the focus goes. And so the most important thing is that we get clear on where we want to go. So I want to just take you quickly through that, because most don't know how simple it can be. So I've got a new book. No, I've got three. So I've got this AI book that will be out, but I've got these two really good books that are coming out. One is the next book after the Superconscious Path, and it's called How to Integrate Your Shadow. Really good book. But I've got another one that's half written, and it's about superconscious principles. And the very first chapter is on a principle called the Simple Life Plan. And many of you know and have had me teach it. But I want to just quickly go through it right now, because there's lots of people going, well, how should I create my life? So the Simple Life Plan is going to be the first chapter. So the Simple Life Plan. Now let me give you a bit of a backstory about how this happened actually. So I sold my business, made more money than I could ever spend, had this amazing purpose of turning up and doing MagMind. Life was bloody awesome. And I felt kind of empty. I was like, and you guys knew me when this is happening. I'm like, oh, geez, what's now? Money's got no marginal benefit to me right now. Like, if I make another $1 million, what the heck will I do with it? I'm like, and then what would I actually put my time on that's more important and enjoyable than mag mind? Like, I was like, it was really strange because it was almost like I'd figured it all out. And I was like, and then the weird thing is because I'd figured it all out, I was kind of like, didn't have anything I was going for. So it was a really strange conundrum. So I played a bunch of golf and thought a lot, got good at golf. But in that time of getting good at golf and thinking a lot, I came up with some thoughts of how do you actually design your life? I was reading a bunch of books and trying to put this idea together because it's such an interesting concept. But here's the first premise. The first premise is we've got 85 to 120 years to be in this consciousness, this body, this vehicle. That's the first premise. I was like, that seems to be right. I was reading Buckminster Fuller and a bunch of things. The other thing is we're not blood and flesh and bone. We're actually a consciousness inhabiting a body, and this body's got 85 to 120 years. So I was like, that seems, I don't know about you guys, but that seems to me what I can get down with that, And so I was like, okay, so I've got this 90 to 100 odd years around the sun, right? That will come to an end at some point. What makes a good one of those? Like there has to be a definition of what a good one is. I was like, all right, what makes a good one of those? It's kind of interesting to think about, isn't it? I'm like, what makes a good one? And so what I realized is that, a good life comes down to how you feel about it, right? I was like, okay, and I just kept on wanting to stay in these like first principles. I was like, right, if I'm going to be here 85 to 100 years and I don't know what happens after that. I've got my beliefs, you have yours, we don't know. So, okay, what makes a good life is how I feel about it. I was like, okay, right. Now, if I can think about that, it's like, so then the question I wrote was, well, what do I want to feel? What do I want to feel? I want you to think about that for a minute. So what do you want to feel? Like, what do you actually enjoy feeling? Is it love? Is it connection? Is it joy? Is it wonder? Is it success? Is it contribution? Is it purpose? Like, what do you want to feel? So you write that down. Just take a moment, just jot a few down. I want to feel content. I want to feel loved, loving. I want to feel abundant. I want to feel whatever they are. I don't know. So I wrote mine down. I sat there writing these down thinking, yeah, I want to feel. And mine was like, I want to feel purposeful, I want to feel joy, I want to feel contribution, friendship, like stuff you'll write down too. So it didn't take me long to sort of jot down how I want to feel. And I was like, this is it. It's like, okay, this is more important to me than money or more important to just giving my life to MagMind. It's like, what do I want to feel? And so then I asked another question and I was like, what allows me to feel that? And next to every way that I wanted to feel, I wrote down an activity that allows me to feel that way. And it was just so bloody profound, I'm like, I want to feel contribution. What allows me to feel contribution? MagMind. I absolutely love contributing and doing this, right? I like to do this. This feels good to my system. Contribution. I like to feel competition. I love competing. I love, play anything with you, Let's put some money on it. Let's go. I love competing. And so I wrote down what allows me to feel competition. I love to feel purpose. I love to feel content. I love to feel safe. I love to feel abundant. And I wrote down things that I like to do that allows me to feel that. And I think this is such an important thing. And then structure your week to do that. And that's my simple life plan on one page. See, they did this study where they put a rat in a cage and they gave it water and cocaine, or cocaine water and then fresh water, and the rat just sat there and got addicted to cocaine. And this was done a long time ago. And so they decided, we're all susceptible to being complete addicts, and there's nothing you can do about it. Once you get hooked, that's it. And then they actually redid the study, a few decades later, but they don't talk about this one that much, because they all got bought into the problem orientation that once you get on something, you can't get off it, which they've got all sorts of science and stories to back it up. However, they did a second study. The second study was a different rat. The first one was coke out of his head, so they had to get a new one. Second rat, and so they put it in a new rat pen, a new rat cage, and this time they give it an amazing, playground and other rats probably to have sex with and stuff. Just, a good time. And they gave it the same water and cocaine water. And this time, the rat tried the cocaine water a few times and then just gave it up and stuck to the normal water. It was too busy having a great time. And the hypothesis is that after the rat tried it a few times, it just attributed the hangover or the downside or the negative with it and was like, I'm too busy having a good time. That's actually affecting what I like to do more than it was giving me. And so that was their summary. And it just got me thinking how much we try to medicate somebody that's living a life they just hate, you know? And we were having a laugh about it in the other room before, where, you know, it's like you ask someone, so what do you love to do? I love hunting, I love fishing, I love being out with my friends, I love, you know, good times, good energy. Yeah, I'm really sad, really depressed, I'm on this depression medication. Tell me about what you do each day. I sit in traffic, go to an office and tap away on a keyboard. I just can't get myself happy. I don't know why. And it's, you know, we're having a joke about it, but not at the expense of someone that I just made up, but just at the stupidity of, I think that creating a life you love is the best form of therapy, right? I really believe that. Like, I don't think it's the only. I just think it's the best. I think it's the starting block, you know? I think it's the first foundational piece that we should be thinking about is what actually is a life I love. And I think this is a really good way to do it. Is a good life is how you feel about it. Okay, so define your feelings first. Define how you want to feel first. This is what I want to feel. Then acknowledge what actually allows you to feel those. Because I don't know about you, but if I just want to feel contribution, just sitting at home without doing something, I mean, I can close my eyes and feel contribution, but it's not the same as doing something like this where I'm actively contributing, right? I get that I give myself all the emotions, but sitting in meditation and feeling competition isn't the same as getting out there and, you know, playing sport and competing. Do you guys agree? Like, it's not. I get that we can give ourselves our own feelings, but I think life is an action sport and we want to be involved in it. And so I wrote that down, and then I just structured my week to be as much of that as possible. And it's not possible to do it all at the beginning, but it's possible if you first make the decision how you want it to be.